Joining us in studio, Deputy Prime Minister Musalia Mudavadi is with us. Welcome. It's been a hectic day for you.
Yes, it has been.
Yes. A move this week that I think has altered the shape of politics in this country significantly. Let's get straight into this. In 2007, you supported Raila Odinga for president. You're a member of the Pentagon over the past few years, you know, a strong party member for ODM. What prompted this move? And I know you've said several things led up to this, but there's always a pivotal moment when a decision of this kind is made. What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Thank you. First of all, I'm happy to be here once again. I'll go straight to the point. We have the New Political Parties Act, and the day that ODM finally submitted its papers or its credentials for registration, full registration under the New Political Act, based on its current constitution, then it was very clear that it would be very difficult for me to have a fair opportunity within that party, and hence the decision. Why do I say so? If you look at Article 20 of the Political Parties Act, the process of amending the constitution of a party, once it has been registered under the New Political Parties Act, is quite laborious. Stage one, the party must notify the Register of Political Parties, who must then give at least 14 days notice, published in the Kenya Gazette. Then thereafter, you must allow a window of another 30 days for people with any issues on that particular clause or proposed of change would then look at it and make their representation. Thereafter, you are then supposed to again go through your own party constitution, call the relevant organs, whether it is the Governing Council or the NDC. So if you have 14 days, add 30 days, and then add roughly another 30 days to it before you eventually change the constitution. So that would mean that you could be dragged on until August or July before a change is made. Suppose at the last minute, the NDC says we refuse to change the constitution. Therefore, that would mean that the legal position is that the party leader is the automatic candidate, and therefore I would not have a chance. Okay. Equally, suppose somebody went to court to inject the ODM party from amending its constitution because it has already attained compliance, registration. That again would mean that you're locked up in the court process. So
you say you're looking for a fair chance. What would you say to people who say, hold on a minute, you're coming out of the party in an environment where perhaps you're being an opportunist, trying to look to get through, between Uhuru and Ruto and their problems at the ICC, or others who might say, this wasn't about fairness. This was about you and your chances at the presidency. What would you say to those people?
I think I must make it very clear that I've always had an intention. I've always had my eye on the seat. And there's absolutely nothing wrong for me to pursue my ambition. In any case, how do you explain the others who are there, who are eyeing the position? They're also ambitious. Now, I'm not the one who created the ICC process. So I cannot therefore say that I'm going to peg my candidacy on a judicial process elsewhere. I think we have to be very, very clear on this. I think we should be prepared to accept that Kenyans will have the final say in this matter. They will make the decision. And equally, let's bear in mind that as we move ahead, we will have a truly independent referee in the process, the IEBC. I would hesitate to say that we were going to have an independent referee in the ODM nomination process.
Okay, let's go to what you stand for. If you come in as president of Kenya, what's your unique value proposition? What do you think you bring to us as a nation? And perhaps focusing on critical issues of reform as well, of the fight against corruption, of development.
I think one of the things that one needs to look at very carefully is that if you look at the country today, the polarization level is extremely high. And this has been a major impediment when it comes to getting serious developmental programs to be implemented and policies to be developed and seen to logical conclusion. So I think one of the things that I would say I would want to bring on the table is some harmony, to get people discussing and sitting together without somebody thinking that there's some cards being played under the table. I think this is what we must get rid of, because there's so much suspicion in Kenya's political situation at the moment. And we need to get people to realize that we are all Kenyans, we must work together. So I believe that working against polarization and working more towards cohesion and integration is absolutely essential as we move forward. There are so many issues that we would be tackling as a nation. Poverty remains a major issue. Unemployment is high. Therefore, I would focus largely on the need to have an economy that is growing, and growing at a level that would generate the kind of jobs that we want. I may have a bias on that because I spent a lot of time as Minister for Finance, 5 years. I've been in various other portfolios, which have clearly shown that if we want to go forward, we must grow the cake, and therefore the economy is going to be a major plank. The other thing that we must focus on is security. We are having dangerous situations developing around us, and also with the high levels of unemployment internally. Now, we must also have a program, a systematic program of investing in security. Not all money can go to security at a go, but give it a clear path. And I'm happy to say that some of the laws that are coming through in the context of the police reform process, the legislation that Parliament has now enacted, the reforms we are seeing in the judiciary, this is all an important process under the justice system. And I think we need to consolidate those areas.
Okay, thank you for that. I just must touch on the fight against corruption. And you were named in the Goldenberg report, land cemetery saga, which was associated with your ministry. I know some of these matters are in court and it's difficult to delve into the details, but what would you say about corruption and your stand and your commitment on those issues?
First of all, let me just say that on the issue of the Goldenberg, there was the Commission of Inquiry, which was public. It was a legal and judicial process. And the report is public. It can be found in the Kenya Gazette. You find it, the recommendations and the conclusion of the commission is there. It clearly states that I had nothing to do with that particular saga. In fact, the resolution of the commission was that I played a major role in bringing it to an end. And therefore, that is in the public domain, and I have nothing to hide about that. Now, this other issue that comes up about the cemetery saga and so forth, I raised this issue as well. It was being investigated. I got the people of the anti-corruption to come. They took statements from me. They did their investigations, and the matter is in court.
So you're saying you were spearheading, in
so
fact,
I would not want to go beyond that and say that with their investigations, what they found has led certain issues to go to court. And that is where I stand.
Okay, you resigned, obviously, as minister, not yet as DPM, or you have not resigned as DPM or as Member of Parliament. Give us your logic.
Well, first of all, let me put it this way, that the DPM position is inbuilt in the National Accord, which we have integrated with our constitution. I was a key player in this process, both at the Serena talks, in ensuring that we were reconciling Kenyans. So it is a unique situation where I played an important role with other Kenyans, no doubt about it. So from that perspective, and bearing in mind what I've just told you about the need to continue getting people together, I believe that playing a role within the context of the DPM is still important to me and important to the Kenyan people. If you want to change that, then you're going to start fundamentally altering the accord. And I don't think that is where we want to go, especially when we are just about to prepare for a general election. The second thing is that the position of MP for Sabatia is a position that is given to you by the people of Sabatia. It's not given to you by anybody else. They make a decision, they decide. There was a time I was MP for Sabatia. In 2002, they decided I should not be their MP. I took that in my stride. I was even offered a nominated seat by Kanu, and I said no, because the voters of Sabatia have said that it's not on. Now, they are going to have an opportunity to make that decision in a few months' time. So I think let that be made very clear. But let me just clarify one point. UDF, as the vehicle that I'm talking about as we go into the future, we have a forum in UDF, and then there's the party. In the interim period that we are in, it must be on record that we are members of the forum, as distinct from the party, because you cannot be a member of two political parties at the same time. So we are very clear on that.
Okay, very interesting. Let's wind it up with a question about Musalia the man. Just very quickly, tell us a little bit about your family. If you do occupy that house on the hill, what will the first family be like? Tell us a bit about them.
Well, it's a very interesting question, but I am married. We have 3 children. I have 2 boys. One is in university now. The second is just about to do his A-levels. And then the last one is a daughter. She's 14. And that is where we are.
That is the nature of the family.
That's the nature of the family.
Yes.
And I'm happy that they're there for me, and I'll always be there for them.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. And you've heard what the DPM has had to say. He's had his say on Sunday Live tonight. And we're asking you on our poll question.